Greetings to everyone. My name is Unathi Sondi, the Executive Chairperson of the Maritime Business Chamber. I stand in front of you today with heaviness in my heart as we were looking towards, closing the year in the office. Our offices were raided by criminals who came at gunpoint and robbed members of the chamber, staff in the office, executive members of their goods and office goods. It is very alarming, the level of crime. For organizations such as ours, an organization that stands for the maritime industry at large. But what saddens me the most is the loss that we recently witnessed, where we lost our leader, the Deputy Chairperson, Mr. Kandila X. His loss comes at a time when the Chamber was beginning to reevaluate and to relook at its strategy and its existence. This is the leader whom was very vocal in standing up for the rights of the marginalized businesses within the industry. He was very key and instrumental in driving us towards realizing the 7 principles that the Chamber operates with, in particular the one which is near, which talks to purpose and the restoration of our traditional greatness. I want to say to the Pandilamani family, this man has played a critical role in a number of sectors, both social and economical. His memory will live with us forever. The man stood for development. There is no way, as the Maritime Business Chamber, we would not honor him in the coming year. May his soul rest in peace. The country is faced with a number of challenges, especially maritime. We have seen a number of activities that have been taking place, both local and international. In the international front, I think the global economy has seen since 2020, year after year, there is always some issues that would arise. But here in the country, we have seen how maritime has had some serious hurdles with the port challenges, with the offshore bunkering, with SARS, detaining vessels, which has led to some businesses closing down. People who had made investments in the bay, hotels, offshore, operators whom have been operating service boats, offices that have been depending on these operations. Some companies have already retrenched some of their staff. Others have already announced that they might be moving their investments to somewhere else. We are happy that there is some, review to legislation that is underway, which is open for comment, and SARS requires those comments by the 12th of January 2024. But right now, there is a crisis in the world. The global economy is looking into South Africa around the Cape Route, where all these vessels that won't be able to go via the Red Sea anymore would be looking at the Cape Route. Some of them would be distressed and would need bunkers. The Chamber has made some calls for the lifting of the moratorium that is in place, so that there can be more bunker operators that are able to take up this offshore bunkering opportunity. In the same time, for SARS to suspend the detention of the vessels whilst their investigations are continuing, to allow for activities to continue. But outside of that, I think as the Chamber, we have done great this year, having to realize and also begin to move and act swiftly on our African continent strategy. This has led us now to the establishment of the East Africa chapter under the leadership of Mr. Mbaru, and also moving within South Africa as well with the establishment of the West Coast Western chapter under the leadership of Enrico Adams. The Chamber indeed prides itself for being part of some critical conversations within the global economy of maritime. The talks around the decarbonization, the African continent, conversations around cabotage issues. We believe that as the Maritime Business Chamber, we stand in the position to indeed being the voice of maritime. Together with all the other stakeholders that we are working with, we would continue to driving the notion that maritime is for us all. Africa's voice has and now still continues to be limited, even in the sittings such as the IMO Council, with only a few African countries that have managed again, which excludes South Africa, to being nominated into the council, having Liberia also sitting in the category A, which then speaks volumes about the level of how Africa is beginning to move and establishing itself as a maritime center of excellence. In the country as the Maritime Business Chamber, we hope that we would see more activities, more alignment with all other African continents with regards to the country really taking maritime serious. We, therefore, as the Maritime Business Chamber, rally behind the call that has been made by the Black Business Council for South Africa to establish the Maritime Affairs Ministry, together with the establishment or the changing of the SAMSA Act to be the SAMA Act, taking SAMSA not only to being mainly focused on safety issues, but to being the South African Maritime Administration. We believe this is the right call and this is the right direction that South Africa would need to head. In the African continent, we have seen a number of countries establishing the Blue Economy Ministries, others have established the Maritime Affairs Ministries. And this then enables them to be able to focus more energies and efforts in building a strong maritime front. We also wish to see the establishment of all ship registrars in the continent coming together for Africa to work on its ship registry strategy. This would then require as well all revenue services commissioners coming together and aligning. And I believe, on behalf of the Chamber, should that happen, circumstances or instances such as the one that has taken place in Algoa Bay could have been circumvented if SARS or the revenue commissioners had a platform in the continent where they come and discuss issues, in particular that relates to customs issues for maritime. We are closing the year being very sure of the direction that we would be taking moving forward. The Chamber has had a number of activities and initiatives that we had begun to initiate. As we close this year for 2024, we would then be focusing more on strengthening the MOUs that we have in place with a number of our stakeholders, and looking also at building a strong presence in the continent. We believe Africa, it's your time now to come together and begin to raise your voice. All these matters or circumstances that we have seen around the world with the advent of COVID-19, the Russia-Ukraine, and right now with the Red Sea crisis. These crises continue to present Africa with an opportunity for Africa to be a manufacturer and not just to be an exporter of raw goods or materials. When all these things happen, Africa gets hurt the most because we are dependent on the West. It is high time that Africa really realizes its strength and its position, which is very key and critical for the global economy to continue to being active. Maritime plays a critical role. It is why for Africa coming together, fixing its own cabotage issues, having their own vessels, it would allow them to be able to move cargo within the continent, which is something that is missing. We believe that at the Maritime Business Chamber, 2024 would present a number of opportunities for the country and for Africa to be able to affirm its position in the global economy. South Africa might have again lost a seat in the IMO Council Category C, which is something that we need to sit back and look back and begin to analyze what has led into that and work on a strategy moving forward. The Chamber continues to raise its hands to say, we are ready to assist, we are ready for all of us to collaborate, because collaboration is what is going to bring us the results that we desire. There has never been any strength in individualism. Unity is strength, unity is power. We must make sure that all those that continue to act as if they are superior, they are the gods of the industry, they must know there is nothing that they can do alone. We all need to come together, and we must never allow anyone, whether they are a government employee or a private sector, to come and divide us in what we are trying to do. We need to stand together. That is the only way we would be able to achieve the results of Africa, in particular South Africa now, being a true maritime nation. We further call upon the government to act on its promises to support the development of the small-scale fishers. These fishers were given rights in 2019, some of them. The Western Cape process has just begun. But even the ones that were given rights in 2019, they still do not have some of the support mechanisms that the ministers had pronounced on. We say, government, you need to deliver to these communities. Support them so that we are able to begin to build strong fishing coastal communities. Because they are there. These people, they've got the indigenous knowledge. They have been doing this thing for many years. It has been passed on to generations and generations. All that they need is access to market, the tools to be able to do the work. We salute the recent announcement with the establishment of a processing factory in Mossel Bay. We believe that would also assist those fishermen closer to Mossel Bay. But if they do not have a share, again, they are going to be victims. We are clear as the Maritime Business Chamber about the stance and the direction that the country needs to focus on from our perspective. We are very happy and we support the decision by DFFE to allow and grant certain licenses that talks to oil and gas exploration in this country, We have seen the recent news with regards to Total. We have also seen and appreciate the government's direction on issuing environmental permits for the gas to power projects in this country. For we believe gas to power will alleviate us of the energy crisis that we have. The oil and gas projects that can be explored in the shores of this country would go a long way in assisting this country. And Africa at large, African countries must begin to explore their own gas and their own oil. In light of the current conversations around the decarbonization, we need to make sure that we produce our own oil, our own gas, so that a number of things can now become affordable for the citizens of each country. As we move forward to 2024, oil and gas exploration would be one of those activities that the Maritime Business Chamber would continue to be vocal on. The rights for the fishing communities, the bunkering sector, the development of the maritime schools in all coastal communities, job creation for seafarers, opportunities for local seafarers. It's one of the things that we will make pronouncements on. The inclusion of the small businesses, in particular those that are historically disadvantaged from port activities. From port activities, participation in the entire value chain of maritime. We would continue to support such cause. It can never be that port communities are not the key beneficiaries in all these activities. We would continue to raise our voice on matters that relates to port inefficiencies, rail inefficiencies, because they affect the movement of goods. They affect the price of a number of things that the poor and the marginalized of this country depend on. 2024, as many political parties would be heading to the polls, we want to see leaders that are going to stand for the development of this economy. Leaders with integrity. We don't have a part in politics. All that we require those that will deliver on their promises. And that is what is going to take this country to move forward. I want to thank all the members that have continued to pay their subscriptions so that this office can continue to have lights on, that we may be able to travel, that we may be able to drive programs from this office. All our corporate members, we want to thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for continuing to assisting the vision of this chamber. Indeed, one can really see now that the chamber is indeed about inclusivity. The chamber is indeed about transformation. The chamber is indeed about taking leadership. And the chamber is indeed a partner of choice. We are welcome to partnering with many organizations that wish to see maritime striving for the better in South Africa and in Africa. As we look into saying goodbye to 2023 and forge ahead to 2024, we may forget some of the things that we leave behind. things that put us down, things that made us to walk in separate ways. But we must look forward, press forward to the things that are in front of us, opportunities that can not only benefit individuals, but would be able to benefit us all. Indeed, maritime is for us all. May you have a blessed 2024. And may all things that you wish for, all things that you hope for, programs that will bring change, may they come true. Let us all work together in 2024, moving forward, to driving an agenda that would position Africa as a maritime center of excellence and a hub for the economic or the global community. Thank you.